All right, so I guess we're starting over. Let's start over from the top. This is a season 12 Kings Canyon ranked tier list. I'm gonna go through from left to right. I'm gonna start at Ash and work my way across. Let's talk about a little bit on the every legend and see what I think is the meta or ranked meta in Kings Canyon for season 12. Starting off, we'll go with Ash. I think she is S tier. Her passive is the most underrated passive in the game. Being able to see where people die and being able to plan and navigate your rotations around that is super big. Her tactical being the snare, I think that's, give or take. I think, it's gotta balance your kit some way. It's not really the most powerful in the game, but it doesn't need to be. And then her ultimate, the port, instant port, is what makes her who she is. I think that being able to get out of tricky situations or being super aggressive on the pushes once you get cracks or downs is huge in Kings Canyon, especially with a smaller map. Being able to close the gap fast is why she's on the top of my list. Moving along, Bangalore, I think she's C tier. Her kit is always seems like it's been the same since day one or season 0. Her passive, I think, is actually one of the best passes in the game. Being able to get an instant speed boost when getting shot at, huge in this game. Speed is everything in this game. That's why I think it's one of the best tacticals in the game. I think that her smokes are good and bad. If you know how to use her smokes, they're super good. There's a lot of times where if you don't know how to use her smokes, that you can actually harm your team more than help. Smoke in the area and not be able to see what they're shooting at. Her ultimate has gotten better. I think they buffed it a few seasons ago, but overall I just think she's just kind of like a mid-tier raid legend, especially in Kings Canyon. Moving along to Bloodhound, I think he is I think that he is probably gonna be S tier. I think that he's probably still the best, one of the best, or the best scan legend in the game. Tier, I think, is actually a lot very underrated, but we'll get to that later on. Tactical, let's see, passive, excuse me, we'll start there. Passive is, meh, it's not that great. Being able to see where people were is good in very specific instances. But his bread and butter is his tactical, the scan. Being able to scan through walls every 30 seconds is huge. Making sure that people are not hiding in buildings or just overall giving your team information to take in order to take on a fight. His ultimate is also one of the strongest in the game. Being able to very rapidly do your scans, giving your team a lot of information, and also the speed boost and the enhanced vision is huge. Bloodhound is definitely one of the best, if not the best legend in the game. Moving right along, Caustic. Now keep in mind this is a Kings Canyon meta rating. In my opinion, I think Kings Canyon plays, unfortunately, very heavily in the favor for Caustic. Caustic is a close quarters demon. Passive, he's being able to see in his own gas, but tactical and ultimate, that's what everybody runs into in this map. Unfortunately, you throw your gas canisters down, makes it almost impossible for you to push a building. You got a Caustic bunkered up. It's definitely really hard legend to push in a building. And then he's got the gas grenade too, so he's able to put the gas down a large blanket area, and it's really tough to fight through if you don't have a Caustic on your team. But for Kings Canyon, I think he's A tier. Crypto, I have a soft spot in my heart for Crypto. I know they buffed him a lot but I think he's still probably D tier. He's still, when you compare him to some of the other legends in the game, scan legends in the game, he just doesn't have it, you know. I think that he's got a ton of passives. Being able to grab banners, to scan for teams in the area is huge. But the big thing with Crypto is his drone. If you destroy it, he's basically has no abilities, no way to help your team for 35 seconds or 40 seconds or whatever the cooldown is. The EMP is huge, one of the best in the game. But you know, that you're still depending on somebody to be in the drone for most cases to be really effective. With essentially takes out an extra shooter too whenever you're playing against other squads. So I think he's D tier. He's come a long way. He used to be F tier. Nobody ever picked him. Moving on to Fuse, I think we'll throw him into D tier with Crypto. Fuse is, he's an offensive legend. Being able to carry a bunch of nades for his passive is nice. Being able to throw them a long distance is nice. His knuckle clusters are a pretty good tactical too. Being able to move people off their place or from behind cover, I think is pretty big. The ultimate, I think, is really lackluster. It's really hard to hit people with it, and to really make it effective, you have to hit somebody in the center of it, scan them, and with so many movement legends in the game, it really kind of makes it irrelevant because people are able to fly out or grapple out or pad out, so it's not really that good of an ultimate. But Fuse, I think, is D tier. Maybe he'll get some love in the future. Gibraltar, Big Gibbs, he is S tier. I feel like that the devs will always want him to be S tier. He is 100% pick rate in the Pro League and the ALGS and all that. I mean, he's got it all. He's got fast res. He's got a big bubble dome protection that cannot be penetrated by anything. Can't be shot down. He's got 12 seconds of just protection all around him. His ultimate, being a defensive bombardment, is huge on getting people off their spot or giving you some extra time to heal up. The arm shield, he's just got it all. You give Gibby with red Evo shield and he's basically the final raid boss. I mean, he is one of the strongest characters in the game. The only downfall that I can even think of is that he's big. He's got a huge hitbox. He's very easy to hit, but with his passive of taking less damage, arm shield, it kind of balances out a little bit, and he's very, very strong. Let's see, moving along, Horizon, I'm going to put her in the probably B tier. I know there's a lot of people playing her now. Movement is everything in this game. Being able not be stunned whenever she hits the ground from falling long distances is huge. Being able to slide out of that is big. Her airlift and ultimate are very good. I think she's a very balanced character right now in the game. I think a lot more people are finding out that you can shoot out her ultimate. If you team shoot it, it almost instantly gets deleted, and her ultimate's irrelevant. Just because there's more people playing Horizon right now, so I think that is something to keep track on, or else she would probably be an A tier. But overall, she's solid. Lifeline, I think we're gonna put her down here in the D tier also. She's still very good situationally. Say that word. But in certain situations, she's still very good. Being able to res and still be able to shoot while she reses is huge. But let's all face it, she needs her gun shield or her res shield back to make her anywhere close to Gibby. And that's really who she's fighting against as far as situational support on her team is Gibby. He does everything better than her. And Loba, our next legend, actually gets loot better than her, which makes her ult, the care package, obsolete as well. So she really needs a rework. I'm gonna slide her down. She's really she needs help. Speaking of Loba, I think she is B tier. I'm gonna put her up here with Horizon. Being able to loot up your team pretty much every minute and a half, or I don't know how much cooldown is huge. Ammo is very scarce, especially light ammo on King's Cannon. Everybody's running 301s this season because the flatlines and the crafter. But being able to, for her to loot up your teammates, huge. Her teleport, her bracelet gets her out of sticky situations pretty often. You got to be careful also to not get yourself into sticky situations too, because you could just get in the habit of flinging a bracelet around and land right in the middle of a team. But otherwise, I think she's a very balanced legend. She's very good. Loot is king. You got all your right guns and right attachments, you usually play better. Mirage, unfortunately, is probably going to be my only F tier legend. He is basically just unplayable really competitively, because all of his, I won't say all, his ultimate's pretty good. I mean, one-on-one, a 1v1 versus Mirage is very hard if you don't really go up against him a lot. Other than that, everything else is terrible. He's just not my favorite legend to play, and he doesn't really help his team at all. No support ability whatsoever. So I'm going to put him down here in the basement into F tier. So moving along, Octane, I'm going to put him in the B tier. I think that he is still one of the strongest legends, even though he's got multiple nerfs the last couple seasons. But like I said, speed is king in this game. Movement is king. So being able to stem in and out of situations and jump pad in and out of situations is big. And the health regen passively is awesome too. You don't have to sit there and feed yourself syringes or med kits. But yeah, he's still really, really strong. Pathfinder, Pathy Boy. I think he is an A tier legend. He's very, very good still, even though his hitbox is atrocious. They need to do something about it. And they need to give my boy a passive too, an actual passive. Hopefully that's coming up soon. But his grapples is one of the funnest mechanics in the game to try to learn. Being able to grapple in and out of fights is huge. Zip lines is ultimate. That's okay. I think there's some other legends movement abilities that are better than him. But overall, he's very, very fun to play. His grapples are huge. I'm going to slot him in an A tier. Rampart. I want to put her down here. I'm almost tempted to go all the way down to the F tier, but she needs some help. I mean, she is a defensive legend. They've been trying to buff her, give her some help here lately, but she needs some more of it. Her walls need to be able to take more damage. I mean, we got a defensive legend up here in Gibraltar that has a dome that instantly pops and has unlimited hit points. It's indestructible. While I know that you can shoot through hers and they can't shoot back, it still, I think, is, why would you pick her when you got him? He can fast res, his shields go down instantly. There's really no need to have her picked when you have guys like him that are so strong. Her passive, an LMG, bigger mags and quicker reload is nice, but there's not really an LMG in the game right now that's very good other than the Rampage, and it has to be fed with a thermite in order to be that good. So it's just a lot of things have to go right for her passive to be good. Her ultimate, the Sheila, is very fun. I will admit, I do still play a lot of Rampart. Sheila is fun to play with, but her walls just need a lot of work for her to be a little bit more of a help to her team. So she's going to be slotted down here in the E. Revenant is also going to be slotted down into E tier. He just got nerfed into the ground, really. I mean, his ultimate now, whenever you set it off, and the whole lobby knows that a Rev ultimate got set off. I mean, there's a red explosion, and people just know what to look out for now. So his utility and usage is just not as good as it used to be. His tactical, though, I think is very underrated. I think it's very, very good tactical in fighting some of these higher tier legends that have good abilities, like the Gibraltar, the Wraith, the Pathfinders, the Octanes, Horizons. All these movement legends, if you hit them with that tactical, they can't move like they normally can, and it really messes people up. They're not used to it, especially Race. Whenever they play aggressive and try to phase in and out of fights, you hit them with that Q, they're done. So I mean, they really they can't handle it most of the times. But I think, yeah, he still overall needs a lot of work. His passive, being able to climb high, is actually really underrated too. You can catch a lot of people by surprise only because nobody plays him. And I think that's the reason why nobody can expect it coming. But he still overall needs a lot of work, especially on King's Canyon. I think that it doesn't really play as good as some of the other maps like World's Edge. So he's gonna be slotted down here with the Seer, my boy Seer. I love Seer. I think he is super underrated. I think that he is arguably the better than Bloodhound. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here, but I think he's arguably better than Bloodhound in a few situations. One being their ultimate abilities side by side. I think having wall hacks, literal wall hacks for your team during an entire firefight, which it should be an entire firefight because your fight should not last for more than 30 seconds, is better than Bloodhound scans when he's in his ultimate. I just think that being able to know where exactly the enemies are at all times is better. I think that if you know how to use Seer's Q effectively, is better than Bloodhound scans, only because it can cancel reses, it can cancel heals, and pretty much single out a target that's really hurt for easy cleanups. And then his passive, I think, is one of the best in the game, being able to see people through walls. I mean, literally, you can walk around and see if people are in buildings or around you through walls. It's insane. I think he's super underrated. Slot him there at A tier. Valkyrie, S tier. There's no doubt about it. She is S tier. Passive, her jump jets, her jetpack is, I don't have to explain it too much. It's huge. Her rockets, being able to stun people and get them off their spots, is big. But she's got probably one of the best ultimates in the game, being a redeploy. I mean, this legend can single-handedly get people out of really crappy situations, and there's a reason why she's got a really high pick rate in the Pro League, ALGS as well. Being able to redeploy, reposition, she is definitely probably the best character in the game right now, Valkyrie. Moving on to Watson, I think I'm going to throw her down here into D tier. She's gotten a lot of work recently. Passively being able to regen her shields is big. Her fences are nice. Her ultimate is also nice, but she just doesn't have it overall better than some of the other defensive legends, mainly Gibraltar. But she is really hard one to put in any category, because I've seen some really good Watsons, and I've seen some really bad Watsons. But I think her kit overall, actually, I'm gonna move her up. I think she's here. Being able to regen your teammates' shields fast in fights, and to knock down ordnance grenades is really big. Her ultimate's really, so I'm gonna put her in the middle there. Wraith, also one of the highest pick legends in the game for a reason. Don't really have to go too much into that. She's very good. Her passive is probably terrible, probably one of the worst passives in the game. But her get out of jail free card and her port is no doubt top tier. She is. There's not really any explanation needed. Everybody knows Wraith. That's where she needs to be. Last but not least, Maggie. I think I'm gonna slot her into probably D tier. She's good in some ways. I think that her Q is probably one of the best ones in the game. Being able to damage people through their cover and through their like I said, cover, being able to damage them, move them off their spot, or down them. In most cases, most people aren't really worried about a Maggie Q because nobody plays her that much. Is huge. Her passive's good if you like playing with shotguns, and then the scans that you get in her passive, not as good as you would hope, or I guess everybody was scared of whenever she was released. But it does help you track better. I will say that tracks allows you to track the enemies better. Then her ultimate, the Wrecking Ball, it's actually not great. I mean, again, it's disorientating whenever you hit enemies with it, but I don't think it's good enough to put her any higher than a D. But this is it. This is King's Canaan in a nutshell. I think these 5 up here are, been the best for a while. There's been some moving and shakers here, but this is it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I think I had a good time doing this my first time. So we'll catch you on the next one.